All right, good morning, guys. This is going to be the weekly outlook coming into the third week of January, so third trading week of the year. You may hear a little bit of background noise this time. I'm not using headphones this time because people have been complaining about the audio, to each their own. So if you have been thinking that the audio hasn't been good, let me know if it's good this time and we can proceed this way. If not, we'll go back to the headphones. But we're going to start off with TradingView. And, I don't really use this very often. I'm primarily on Sierra just because I like being a little more detailed, in tune, and customizing things how I like it. But this will get the job done for now. So I'll start on the monthly, weekly, daily, like so, three time frame orientation. So as you can see in October, for majority of 2025, besides the tariffs in April, we had OTFU on the monthly. OTFU standing for one time framing up. As you can see, it's like new body closures above the prior highs, and November brought an inside month. Inside month meaning the monthly candle stayed within the previous month's high and low. These are creating inside bars. So we can use that, or we can analyze that. In December, we ended up taking, we can call these a mother bar. We ended up taking a mother bar high and failing a breakout. If you come down to the weekly time frame, you can see what actually happened. We ended up candle closing above that high, and then we ended up dropping back into this monthly consolidation within the entirety of this range and kind of holding support above. And now, as you see, mid December to the beginning of January, we've actually been able to facilitate some value up here, which is something we never saw in those first jabs at new all-time highs. It would kind of just form excess and then, capitulate back down again into the primary range that had been forming. But what happened last night, and I haven't done my due diligence research on what happened, nor have I checked FintWit much, is we actually gapped like 70 points lower. And we're gapping into that 6,900 area, which is going to be an important thing when we look on my Sierra charts. But this is the first time we visit down here in a while. I think, yeah, this year. So this is like the line in the sand. Are bulls going to actually try and take this back up and return it to the value they've been establishing? Or they're going to lose this area and we're going to get a further retest lower into this, what was it, 3-month, 3.5-month range? So yeah, monthly has been OTFU. We're finally canceling that out. We're more so getting fragile, like, I don't know, lack of better expression, but we haven't been getting that momentum we used to see. On the weekly time frame, let me go ahead and remove these drawings. It's more so, it's, yes, don't get me wrong, creating higher highs and higher lows, but it's not those clean moves you see in a trend where it's going and the trends are forgiving. The regime isn't as risk on as I would think it is. And then lastly, on the daily, you can see it's just like a wide range uptrend. Like, it's not very clean and smooth, as I just said, to reiterate. It's not like this, it's more, And now we got this gap down lower. So, moving to Sierra, the screen is going to stall for a second because I have to switch my monitors. Alright, so we'll start on a monthly TPO. Yeah, so this is the current month's TPO. Yeah, and what you can see here is, let me get my drawing tool. You have this high time frame HVN, and in the first two trading weeks, we actually ended up projecting like this little LVN between the two distributions. And coming into the new year, this was kind of just one distribution, so I was treating it as, okay, once we get up here, we could see a sell-off, which never ended up happening. I remember I did take some swing shorts from around here, I think, if I'm not getting the date wrong. It was someplace. But anyways, I was waiting for 68.72s, literally, and you can see that's the low right now. And we finally retested. But I was waiting for a 68.72 retest on a swing short, which actually never happened. But now we're finally being able to reject this golden level if it continues and persists, where we can probably see more rotations down into that previous month's value area low, as you can see highlighted by this blue line at 68.76. So there's two possibilities that can happen at this golden level. Either it holds and it continues the behavior it's had as a double distribution behavior, you can say. Or you finally see chopping within this HVN out of this golden level. It loses relevance, so then my only reference points would be, these two down here and this one up here, because this is the middle of the HVN, and that's where a lot of traders don't reap the reward they are looking for. The moves aren't as clean, it's harder to predict, and sorry, predict isn't the right word to use, but more so the moves they're positioning from themselves for aren't in the area where they could, or most probabilistically speaking, are going to occur. So, we want to be at the edges. And you can see we got that gap down lower. I ended up taking a short continuation off that golden level into this left a runner here and ended up getting stopped. So now, we also have these reference points above us. You can see the monthly value area low, previous month value area high, which we're now below, and the previous week value area low. I really like to use value areas not for levels, but more so adding confluence to my levels, for if that makes sense. Like I won't use it as a level itself. If it's within an HVN, it kind of loses relevance. Like this monthly val low, I would want it to keep shifting down to 6940s, because right now, it's not in the best of areas. But previous week val low in line with this golden major level, okay, I do like that. And you can value areas is like a new part of my system, but I really like to use them, so I suggest it as well. And now down into the weekly time frame, you can see we have these 3 HVNs that we're looking at. Or actually we could say 4, because I don't know if we're going to get continuation lower this week. We'll work on that because I don't have space. But you can see that the previous week was facilitating value within this HVN. And we got that weekly sell-off into this area where we ended up catching a bid at 68 or 69.20s roughly. And you can see one thing I really like to look at is, okay, where is value on the 3 time frames that we go over, monthly, weekly, daily? Where is that value being built? And you can see it wasn't being built down here. There was no real distribution built out here, just excess and a little short-term balance. But here on the previous week, this is where value was being accepted. It was being accepted higher. So right now, what I start to think is this gray level, not near any weekly value area, monthly value area, but, I think this is going to be that weekly line in the sand. If buyers are able to reclaim this, we can get some acceleration back into that value they've been establishing. And sellers, you want to see continued pressing from them to keep value lower and start to backfill some of this poor structure that we've been seeing within these high time frame HVNs. You can see it's just excess within these major HVNs. So can we start to build these profiles out, so to say? Or, we reclaim the level, we can knife through and then just start this value build again, as we've seen. Or even reclaim the level and just chop this out again, There's plethora of possibilities. It's just positioning for what's possible. And you can see we're actually starting to build a distribution out here. This is kind of toothy, but I kind of like to think of how a TPO distribution can form out based on its current shape, and it's looking like it can form a D right here with excess at the high and lows. And you can see that current weekly value area in tandem with these 2 levels. So, if you begin to see reactions down at the previous month value area in line with this level, begin to find resistance here, okay, maybe we can see further capitulation lower into 68.40s, for example. Haven't marked those levels out yet, and I will, and post it to my Twitter once I see it be beneficial. But for right now, I don't want to keep so much on my chart. And I might even delete the monthly val, because I just don't think it's relevant right now. And I'll keep making sure if it does rotate lower, then I'll remark it. But right now, it's not in a major inflection point. So it's mainly just like, I can't give you, how do I word this? I can't forecast the week to you. All I'm saying is, value was built up here. It's been rejected down here the past 3 weeks, closing on a spike on the first week, so 4 weeks total. So are we finally going to see the backfill of poor structure, or are buyers going to, tomorrow coming to New York AM, or even Globex going into tonight, are they going to quickly and swiftly try and reclaim this golden or gray level and come back in here. And once they reclaim it, I want to see, okay, are they going to be knifing it higher and continuing not to fill out this poor structure, or are they actually going to do so, right? So it's more so if you have access to TPO charts, market profile, volume profile, the main tools I like to use in my toolbox, you want to see where those distributions are being built out. Like, as I said, this Gaussian is being built out down here. So we know values being accepted within this distribution. Well, you want to keep it that way until you see, you know, consolidation breaks higher, actually transpiring above those value areas, finding resistance at prior inflection points, things like that. But it's about it's about keeping it very simple and just knowing, hey, I can't forecast or predict the price action that's going to transpire throughout the week, but hey, I know these pivots and I know what could happen here and here, right? And updating it as the week go and not being so inclined to just one idea. Like right now, if I were to walk you through my idea, well, it's to be selling this golden level, buying the golden gray level down here, buying the golden level on a knife catch, and if we begin to find resistance against 6900s and can't get a, you know, a reclaim like this, sort of say, or maybe if we start pinning against this, we can see a trend formation down. And then to the upside, it would be, okay, mean reversion until here. If we start to see a reclaim, well, we could see a look above and fail because, you know, we haven't established any value, and see it go like this again, or they just rip it through, reclaim, and get up higher into previous month value area high and previous week value area low, primary inflection points as well. So what else could we do? What else could we do? We could do a rough sketch. These are, you know, you see, if you follow me on Twitter, which I highly recommend, because, you know, I post all my wins, I post all my losses, and I try to be as transparent and network with as much people as I can. So we'll do a rough roadmap of how I do it every day. So I mark out the HVNs, and then I ask myself, where are the distributions being built? Where is value being facilitated in all those three different time aggregations? And you can see it's down here right now. So we can take a different color. And what I would like to see is scenario like this, or, you know, that look above and fail that we talked about, right? And then for the downside, it would be same thing, same simple scenario here. Buyers able to form excess, continued value built within here, right? And then if we do get a knife, you know, able to reclaim and get us back up. Obviously the price action won't look that clean, it's just a rough roadmap as I said. And then further upside would be, you know, imbalanced move, retest, imbalanced move, not wanting to fill in any of this poor structure. Or I would think the last one would be if they do end up filling out the structure. So then, like, the monthly profile would more so look like a triple distribution, and most of the excess being down here if they start to form it. So then these could be the monthly lows, and you start to play mean reversion off that. And until this would be the major pivot until we're able to reclaim it and get back up to all-time highs. So I think that would be the rough roadmap for me. It's not going to be the one I post on Twitter. It'll be something similar though, and, you know, it'll get a lot more in detailed once I see what the Globex price action is doing. Market's already closed, or I think it closes in 13 minutes by when I'm recording this video. So, you know, once we get a little bit more MGI and how it's forming against those levels, you know, I can give you guys a better potential forecast on Twitter. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this weekly outlook. You know, I didn't go through how I marked my levels. It was more so like what I'm thinking while I'm analyzing, like every day, like, okay, sorry, I'm just going to walk you guys through the process again, because I think it's really beneficial. You mark out your HVNs, right? I'm not going to do the big boxes, but you mark them out like that, so you know where it is, and you want to see how is value building against it. I'm so sorry. So it's facilitating value within this HVN. You get a gap down at the top of this HVN. So that's going to be a major inflection point if we do begin to reclaim these highs and build out this structure here. Okay, what do we do against here? But that would be the swing long move. And now you have a move down lower, like value is actually moving lower. And the major inflection point right now is going to be this value area high, value area low. If it does end up knifing down or it continues to hold, go like that. So yeah, know where your HVNs are and know how the volume, the value, the time, and the volume is building against those levels. Like right now, this is, if I merge these two profiles together, this is a double distribution. Well, likelihood here is that it fills it in here. Why? It's in this HVN. And you just want to see this low hold, this value area high hold. It's very simple. When the profile is set up like this, you have 4 scenarios. Mean reversion, so that's 2. And then breakout forms a trend, and it goes to new value. And then just know the pivots from there. Okay, we'd be accepting distribution. Okay, we'd be in a high time frame HVN. We can chop these out, or we can quickly zoom through or zoom up. So yeah, it's just keeping it simple, knowing what scenarios make sense right now, and knowing where the value is forming. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Let me know if you have any questions. You can hit me up on Twitter as well. Hope you guys have a good and blessed week. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And yeah, have a good week, everybody.